Wow. Are you guys kidding me? Are you flipping out? 9 years I've been with this company and I am flipping out. The last entire morning I have been one gigantic goosebump, nonstop. Guys, I have to tell you, you've heard it time and time again, that the game is changing. And it is changing in a big way. I hope you listened to Jeff Mockney and what he said. I hope you listened to Anne-Louise Gittleman and what she said about what we are doing. Wow, that's all I can say. Guys, you have heard a lot this morning about this incredible product, our ASEA REDOX product. We all know, right? We all know what it does and what it's done for people that we care about. We've seen the faces, we've looked in their eyes, but there are a lot of people who don't know. And so what I'd like to do for just the next few minutes is I want to take this street level. I mean, literally right down to the street level, because when we leave here, we've got to know what to say. We've got to talk to people and tell them this story. And so I have framed what I'm about to say today in 3 basic questions. And we're talking about our ASEA REDOX cell signaling supplement. Question number 1, what is it? Right? Everybody that I've talked to over the years, as I've introduced this product to them, that is one big question that they have. The next question they always have is, so what does it do? Real simply, right? And once they know what it does, probably even the most important question is, why do I need it? And boy, have we answered those questions. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to walk you through this, and we're going to look at each of these questions individually and talk about it just a little bit in the simplest of terms. Let's start with, what is it? We know that our bodies are made up of trillions and trillions of cells. And you just heard Jerem, as he shared this science with you and showed the new bottle. What is ASEA? What is it, guys? It's a cell signaling supplement. Our cells have to communicate to be able to perform their functions, everything that they do, all the functions of health. Our cells have to be able to communicate and talk and send signals, and that is absolutely critical. Well, how do they do that? How do our cells communicate? It's absolutely amazing. Each of our cells are filled with 2 basic ingredients, salt and water. Our cells take these 2 incredible ingredients, and they create the molecules, the redox molecules that are able to communicate within our entire cellular structure. And that's amazing. So what do we do at ASEA? What is it? What is ASEA REDOX supplement? We quite simply take that very same salt and water, and it goes through our patented proprietary process where those molecules go through this process and they are changed. Our facility is FDA approved. It is a world-class facility. It's got NSF certification. And through this process, when we take that salt and water, at the end of this process, it is no longer salt and water anymore. What we have in that bottle is redox signaling molecules. And this is the first time that we've had a product like this in history, ever. A redox signaling product that has these molecules in this way. We can put them back into our body. What an incredible thing to have a cell signaling supplement with redox molecules. Now, many of you have seen, we represent our redox molecules with this little symbol. You'll see it on the bottle, you've seen it on Renew 28. And when you see this symbol, you know that this product has and contains redox signaling molecules. What does that mean? Well, the world of redox, as we know, is growing. People are starting to understand how important and how foundational cell signaling is in each of our bodies. We have certified with some of the top labs in the United States that we indeed have redox signaling molecules in our product. And that's what ASEA REDOX is. Now let's move to this next question. We've got some interesting answers to this question today, don't we? Do we know what ASEA REDOX does today? Oh, I cannot wait to answer this question. So what does it do? Well, for me, Guys, really simply, it flips the switch. It turns on all the things that need to happen in your body so that you can be healthy. Well, what does that mean? What is the switch? What is it literally turning on? You heard us talk this morning about how important genes are. For me, genes are the gatekeepers. They are the switches in every part of our body so that the pathways are open. Signals can occur, and everything that needs to occur for us to be healthy within our body, it has to pass through our genes. Our genes are the switch, and they control every single pathway of health in our body. Super, super important. Well, what did we learn today? We learned that in partnering with Towerit Labs, one of the foremost labs in genetic research, with Dr. Ward, Dr. Mockney, and others, we learned that we flip the switch. We turn on genes in 5 key genetic pathways that are super, super important in our health. What are those pathways? The immune system, inflammatory response, cardiovascular, digestive function, and hormone modulation. We're turning on all these switches, and it is doing incredible things, as we've all seen with the experiences that we've had with this great product. But let me talk about it in just a little bit of a different way. You heard Jerem give kind of an analogy of a city and turning on those lights. Well, I want you to think about this in terms of your body as well. Think about your house. What happens when the lights go out in your house? What do? Well, maybe it's as simply as the light switch. Maybe there's a bigger problem where you go down to the circuit breaker box and all the lights are out in your house. You look for a flashlight. What happens when everything's out and you can't flip the switch, it doesn't work? You look at your neighbors and they're having the same problem too. All the lights are out. Where do you look to solve that problem? Of course, maybe it's something that's going on in your neighborhood or even across the whole city. Imagine along in this incredible city that is a huge network of electricity where power has to get from a main source to every single part of that city. And all of a sudden there's a failure at any point along the way. It could be in the switch in your home. It could be something that affects the entire city. And imagine the problems that would create when you start to lose power to key important parts of the city. Now, recently with some of the natural disasters that we've seen what that can do and how that affects people in a big way. Well, now I want you to think about that in terms of your body. Your body is also an incredibly complex network of cells. Just like that city, that power, that signal has to get to every single part of your body. And what happens when that signal starts to go out? Sometimes it's a problem that you may not even notice. It's a light switch in a room, and it's something you hadn't even noticed. Sometimes those can become severe challenges that really affect every area of your life. Well, guess what? We have the answer. We have ASEA REDOX that when you're able to allow your cells to communicate, you're able to put these redox signaling molecules back in your body. Now all of a sudden, your body lights up like never before. Like never before. This is huge, guys. Now, what we're going to do now is I actually want to have a little bit of fun with this. We're going to talk in a fun way. We're going to flip the switch and show you how this works. So in order to do that, I'm going to invite some of my best corporate friends and colleagues out to the stage. So will you please help me give a big, warm welcome to some of our corporate team. Okay, guys, this is where we're going to have a little fun. It's time to stand up, have a good time. Are you guys ready? Okay, let's think about this. Now, earlier today, for those of you in the back, if you'll look under your seat, you'll find one of these cool little light-up tubes, right? So look under your seat, just kind of wedge there in your seat. Look for your tube. I see them waving out there. You'll notice that there's a little sticker on there that tells you what area of health you are. Also on the sticker, it said, if you find this, please wait until Justin's presentation. So our diamonds in perfect form sent me text saying, hey, sorry, we read the sticker after we already turned it on. So that's okay. That's okay. We love you guys. So guys, here's what we're going to do. There's a little button. If you haven't found the button at the bottom, you push it once or twice and it starts to blink. If you push it a third time, it stays bright. So you can have some fun with that. What we're going to do is we're going to turn them all off. So push the button until they all go off. and we're going to have a little bit of fun here. Okay, let's look at our first genetic pathway. Well represented here by our CEO, Mr. Charles Funky. Thank you very much. Now, Chuck today is our gene for our immune system. All right? So let's find out. Now, I see some of our immune system guys over here with our blue lights. Guys, let's turn them off for right now. You'll get your chance. Hang tight. Push that button until they go off. We have got to have, Chuck, this is your crew,
I see 'em.
right?
I'm ready.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay. Now, when Chuck hears his signal, he's going to flip the switch and he's going to turn on his light stick, right? He's going to flip the switch for us. When he does that, your crew over here, Chuck, is going to go nuts. They're going to turn their lights on, and then we're going to see who can be the absolute loudest. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, guys, lights off. Now, for the immune system, I've got my friend back here, Jake. Jake's my boy. He's back here with the sound, and he's been helping us to find some signals, right? Some appropriate signals to help us represent this gene expression, okay? So let's hear what Chuck's signal is going to be. Okay.
Outstanding.
Okay, outstanding. Here we go. So, Chuck, when you hear that signal, that's your cue, and you're going to go nuts with your team. Okay? Very good. Okay, fantastic. And here, my friends, we have the lovely Karen Riley. And who better to represent the heart than the lovely Karen Riley? Karen, you see your crew out here? This is your team. Okay. I don't know if it's going to be a competition here. This is going to be interesting. Karen?
Always wins, Justin.
Okay. Lights out, guys. Lights out. Settle down. We'll get there. Okay? So, Karen, let's hear Karen's signal for when, we're going to turn on this gene here. Fantastic. Are you ready? You got it? Yeah. Hey, I love it. Okay. So when you hear that sound, we're going to go nuts. I like your team. I'm seeing some energy here. My friend, Mr. Dave Wall, he's our VP of Finance. He deals with all the accounting. And I'll tell you, nothing said accounting to me like hormone modulation. This is perfect. This is perfect. Dave is the perfect guy for this. He's got the best hair in the building of all the fellas. And so of all the fellas. So Dave, we need a signal for Dave. Dave, this is your crew. They love you. We got some hormone modulation going on over here. This is fantastic. Dave, let's hear what your signal's going to be. Jake, I think he's come up with something great for you. Oh!
Really trying, baby.
Yes. Yes. Perfect for accounting. Man. Oh. I love it. I love it. Okay. Hey. Jake, good job. Karen wants to trade with Dave. Sorry, Karen. You're the heart of the company. You're the heart. Here we go. My friend Jerem Webb, of course, our illustrious president, a distinguished gentleman. And he's got, would you say Jerem has a little bit of fire? A little bit of fire in the system after hearing him today? Inflammation, right? Jerem, where are we at? We're back here in this corner. This is your crew. Loud and proud in the back corner. Okay? Lights out, guys. We need an appropriate sound effect for the fire that Jerem has inside. And Jake, hit us, if you would. Wow. Fire. It's burning. Oh, it's on. It's on. Okay, guys, here we go. Ben and I have to say, Ben and I go way back. We're very, very close friends. We've been involved with each other at different companies, knows my parents well. I have a great deal of respect for our legal counsel here at ASEA with Ben. I'm not sure how this happened, Ben. I'm very, very sorry, but someone's got to do it, and I'm sure there's an appropriate lawyer joke out there somewhere, and you may hear a few of those sometime throughout the event here. But I appreciate you being willing to help. So where's Ben's crew? Back here in this corner. Ben, they love you back there. Digestive function is appropriately right back by the men's bathroom. Very happy with that. And so, Jake, I know we had a hard time with this, but could you give us our signal for Ben? Oh. Jake. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? This is my friend. I'm sorry, Ben. Jake had a run-in with the law last week. But we don't have time to change. We'll go with it for now. I appreciate your help with that. Okay. Lights out. Are you guys ready for some signals? Are you ready to go nuts for your team up here? We're going to turn on these genes, and we're going to see what happens, okay? So let's go. Let's start with our first signal. Jake. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Wow. Okay, settle down over there, immune system. Going a little crazy for Chuck here. I saw some of the guys over here. I think Alan bolted for the door when he heard that sound. But hopefully we'll get him back later. Chuck, not bad. Not bad, I have to say. Fair. Okay, we need our next signal. What's going to happen? Who are we going to light up, Jake? Oh. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right, settle down. Karen, settle down. We only have 18 minutes left. Fair enough. Wow. That was, the heart wins. I'm telling you, that's pretty good. But I see some other genes going to be getting turned on is not the right word here. We're gonna have some fun with it though, right? I think we need to hear our next signal, Jake.
I've been really trying to hold back this feeling
Wow.
for so long. And if you
Wow.
I got you. Come on.
Okay.
Oh,
Dave, settle down. Dave. Okay. Hey. Whoa. We got to be careful with that one. And all I'm saying is I am super happy to see my wife is in that group right there. Fantastic. Dave, accounting's got some moves. Wow. Okay, let's hear it. Jake, what do we got? Wow, okay. Somebody call the fire department. That was something. Jerem, not bad. You picked the right crew. Pretty good. All right, here we go. Anybody need to take a quick break before the next one? Just want to check. Okay, we're good. And Jake, my friend Ben. Fantastic. Okay. All right, you guys. That's cut. Fantastic. Wow. Never in the history of man has someone been that excited about that sound. That is great. Hey, that's pretty good. I don't know. I'm having a hard time picking a winner. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Guys, this is ASEA. We don't just turn on one pathway. We turn on all 5 pathways. Wait for it. Keep them off. Settle down. You guys are a little crazy today. Settle down. We're going to take it down for a moment. But when you see the ASEA bottle, I want to see it because it's turning on all 5 pathways. I want to see it, and I want them to hear it at the Marriott. I want them to hear who ASEA is at the Marriott in Germany. So are you ready? Are our genes ready? Here we go. Jake, let's hit him with some ASEA.
Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down.
I think you guys finally got it. I think you finally got what we're doing here. Man, was that fun. Hey, hang on to your lights, have a good time. Let's show everybody what we do, or it's gonna be great. But guys, what do? We turn those genes on, and it makes an impact in a big, big way. Guys, the last question I'd like to address and talk about a little bit is, why do I need it? Now, obviously, we have all met people. There are people out there who see one of those 5 things. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us. Let's give a big hand to our genes. There are obviously people out there who, when they see one of those benefits, it's gonna speak to them very, very strongly, right? They've possibly experienced some things, or already experiencing some systems and some symptoms and challenges, and it's gonna be a very easy message for them. They're gonna get it. You're gonna be able to say, look, it's right here on the bottle, and I have something that can make a difference for you. But I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm sure you have too, that either they're pretty healthy or they think they are. They think they're fine. They may be having some challenges that they've had for so long, they've just learned to live with it, and it almost they don't even think about it anymore. And so there are a lot of people who are having that experience, and for me, there is really one thing that ties that all together. One reason why they need this in a big way. Guys, the truth is, our cells are breaking down. They're breaking down every single day, every one of us. And we're experiencing that in so many different ways. But we are all experiencing a breakdown of our cells. And when you have a breakdown, it's kind of nice to have a breakthrough. Would you agree? Let's talk about that breakdown and how that shows itself in our world today. Why does it happen? Why do our cells break down? Sun damage, the sun that's out there. You heard Anne Louise talk about some of these factors that we all face more and more as time goes on. The sun has a role in that. The air that we breathe as we're driving to work every day. Stress. Anyone ever in here experience a little bit of stress? Every once in a while? Happens, right? Stress is a big one that people deal with, but guess what? Aging is a major factor. Aging is a big part of our cells breaking down over time. How does this show itself? Well, let's just talk about our 5 areas that we talked about today. First of all, think about the immune system, guys. These are facts that I pulled just simply from the National Institute of Health, from the CDC, but there are so many out there. As I read these facts, it blew my mind about how this is such a problem today. Immune system, 50 million Americans, and this is a lot of stats from the US, but it happens across the globe. 50 million Americans suffer from an autoimmune disease, and that number is rising alarmingly. Autoimmune disease is one of the top 10 causes of death in female children and women in all age groups up to 64. Did you know that? Absolutely amazing. And literally, symptoms can affect every single organ and system in the body. Symptoms are a big deal here. Let's talk about the inflammatory response and some issues there. Chronic psychological stress is associated with the body's losing its ability to regulate the inflammatory response. And boy, I'll tell you, stress is a big problem out there, isn't it? It's a big deal. An estimated 54.4 million US adults, that's 22% of the population, annually have been told by a doctor that they have some form of arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, gout, lupus, or fibromyalgia. Big deal. That's 22% of our population here, guys. Chronic inflammation has been linked to heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, stroke, cancer. All of these things have been linked back to inflammatory issues. Let's talk about cardiovascular. This is a scary one. 1 in 3 deaths in the United States listed cardiovascular disease as the underlying cause. And guys, I just read something yesterday that absolutely blew me away. In men, more than half of those people who die from cardiovascular disease exhibited no prior symptoms. Half. In women, 64% exhibited no prior symptoms before they passed away from cardiovascular issues. 92.1 million Americans live with some form of cardiovascular disease or stroke, and the direct costs right now are estimated over $316 billion. Approximately every 40 seconds, an American will have a heart attack in the United States, and in that same 40 seconds, someone will have a stroke with cardiovascular issues. Let's look at digestive function. This one's very interesting to me. It's estimated that 57% of the US population will suffer from serious to intermittent digestive disorders in their lifetime. Digestive diseases are the second leading cause of disability due to illness in the United States. I had no idea. And digestive diseases are the leading cause of time lost from work for male employees right now. Just a few facts. Let's look at hormone modulation. Almost 80% of women suffer from some kind of hormone imbalance in their lifetime. In the US, diabetes is the most common endocrine disease. And in 2015, nearly 10% of the United States population had diabetes. Isn't that amazing? Now, guys, how are we dealing with this problem? How are people dealing with this problem today? It's amazing. Usually something happens, something's broken. We have issues and symptoms and all those things. And of course, we need to go get help. These things are life-changing issues for a lot of people. But there are also some people out there who maybe the light switch has just gone off in one room of their house and they're not aware. Think about those stats with cardiovascular disease where people didn't even know they had a problem until it became the ultimate problem. This is an interesting thing to me. We have got to think differently about our health in the world today. It's not about waiting until the symptoms occur. It's not about waiting until we lose the time and the money and all of those things that occur when we face something like these challenges. We have to address it in a different way, and boy, does ASEA do that. Guys, this part of this for me is it feels very personal to me. When I first found ASEA, I fell in love with Vertus. How can you not, right? I fell in love with his passion and his vision for what this was. I learned later the power of this product, but I was a young, healthy guy. I didn't see myself as having those types of health challenges. Many of you have heard me tell the story of my father, who found a friend of his introduced him to natural health products years and years ago, and they changed his life in a big way. And so he started to take those products, and it made a difference for him. You know, and you think back, I want to share with you some of that story, a little bit of what this meant to me as I started to think about what ASEA really means to me. Many of you heard me tell about my dad and how he was a cowboy, a real live American cowboy. That's him on a horse that didn't want him there. And about a second later, he was looking up at the horse from the ground, but that's okay. And so he had a lot of health challenges that really impacted him at a very young age. And the interesting thing is, as I thought about this, my father started taking these products and literally they changed his life. As a young boy, I had a very different perspective. Now, I loved and respected my father in an enormous way, and I just loved him a great deal. And I'll tell you, he tried to give me every single product that you could imagine as I was growing up. And even though I loved my dad, man, I hated that, right? As a young boy, I remember he gave me black liquid in a white bottle and it tasted like jet fuel, right? I remember he gave me this other stuff that I thought he had just cut the grass and stirred it up with some water and then made me drink it. And I took all these things because I loved my dad, but I didn't have the experience like he had. And so as I started to think about that, I'll tell you, I I started to remember back about my dad. Now, as a cowboy, my dad was a tough guy. He was really tough. He didn't talk about his problems or his challenges very often. He was a very happy-go-lucky guy. But he did have a few things that I remember that were regrets for him. Because of these health challenges that he had, and believe me, he took a lot of products that I believe prolonged his experience, gave him a better quality of life. He still had to deal with some of those challenges. But as I remember my dad, a lot of his challenges went back to weight. It was one problem that led to another, and he had a problem with weight and with his knees at a very young age for a long time. My dad, if he had one regret, he never complained about his problems. But every once in a while, he'd get a little teary-eyed with me and say, "Son, I'm sorry I can't go out there and throw a ball with you." Or he couldn't go hiking with me in the mountains. And he regretted that. That was really hard for him to deal with as I was growing up, and I'll never forget that. I often, as my dad got older in his life, he was often in a chair, or, he had his favorite chair in our house and spent a lot of time there, and we'd go out and, he was a fun guy. He went out and loved to do lots of things, but because of some of the challenges that he faced, he was often sitting on the sideline. This is much later in Dad's life, and as his problems continued to grow, problems that he had for over 25 years that he was able to kind of slow down with the things that he was taking and doing, it started to become pretty heavy for him. And, you'd see us out playing and going down the water slide, and Dad was kind of sitting on the side and having a good time, right? And that's, as I started I went back after this, and as I was thinking this, I asked my children, what they remembered of their grandpa. They were very young when they knew their grandpa. He passed away just over 6 years ago. And I asked them what they remember, and they remembered that grandpa was often in his chair or in his wheelchair, and that's the memory. They loved their grandpa, but grandpa started to have some problems, serious problems in his life. He was taking lots of things. He had to take one thing that led to another thing, and he started to have some discomfort, and so he had to take something else. He ended up having to take something that started to take away who he was. And he started to see hallucinations and some different things that were happening. And we watched this. As I thought of this, I thought back. Often when I've told this story, guys, some of you have heard me tell this, I say, I took all of these things because I love my dad and he wanted me to be healthy. I thought back to what that really means. Healthy is kind of of course he wants me to be healthy. But I thought back to what he was really trying to give me. Now, I honestly believe that back then when he was trying to give me all these things, that my dad could tell the future. To me, he could tell the future as I now understand what he was trying to do. He was seeing this for me in my life. He was seeing that one day I would have children just like I was his child, and that I would have opportunities to go out and throw a ball. And as I thought about what my dad was really trying to give me, as he wanted me, and he almost had an urgency. Every time I would go over to his house, even though he was a member of one company, he'd have everything, and he gave me something new every time. You got to take this, Justin. What was he trying to tell me and give me? Two things. One was time. He wanted to give me time with my family, with the people that I care about, unfettered by having to go spend time with doctors and dealing with illnesses that kept you out of the world and in a place where you couldn't do anything. But the second thing that he was trying to give me was freedom. Freedom to do whatever I want and to go out and have fun with my family and not be challenged with health challenges that would stop me from doing that. And that was a great gift that he gave me. So if you ask me, Justin, why do you need this? I want time and I want freedom to do this with my family. Guys, we have the answers right here, right in front of us. We know what it is. It's a cell signaling supplement. What does it do? Well, boy, it turns on genes, and not just the ones with hormone imbalance, right? It turns on genes in a big way. Why do I need it? because our cells are breaking down. Every single one of us face this challenge, and we all want time and we all want freedom to be able to do what we want with our families. Now, as you think about this and we go out and you talk to people, if you're to talk to someone for the very first time that's never heard about ASEA, which of these 3 questions would you suggest would be most important to them? It may look a little differently. Maybe it would be in a little bit of a different order. Could I suggest that possibly people are probably thinking more in that moment about what this could do for them or why they need it? And boy, we can answer that question. As I thought about this, I thought back to lots of opportunities I've had over the years, people I've talked to, opportunities I'm going to have in the future that I know I'm going to have in the future. And I'll tell you what, guys, after today, it's on. It is on. I think about this time when I have, this every time of year at Thanksgiving, we have the turkey bowl, right? We go out and play American football and beat each other up with a bunch of friends in the neighborhood. And about at halftime, I'm going to walk over to my bag when everybody else is, us 40-year-old guys that are trying to remember that we were 18 once, right? We're going to have our hands on our knees, and I'm going to take my ASEA REDOX. I'm not going to drink out of the bottle because we don't do that. But I'm going to have a little cup. I'm going to pour some. I'm going to drink it. And I guarantee you, someone's going to ask me, "What you got there, Wilson?" I'm going to say, "Oh, nothing. My cells are breaking down in a big way. I'm 44. Come on, guys. My cells are breaking down. And I need to turn on some genes here." And they're going to say, "Well, what is it?" "Well, it's a cell signaling supplement." "Can I have some?" "Only if you're on my team." Right? Yes. Very competitive. I'm going to walk up to a millennial, and I'm going to look at him, and I'm going to say, some of our folks like Marco and the team that was here in our breakout the other day, and I'm going to look at him, and I'm going to be like, "Whew." He's going to say, "What?" And I'm going to say, "Whew, your cells are breaking down." "Not my cells." "Yes, your cells too." Right? I'm going to talk to someone at the grocery store. My wife and I bump into people at the grocery store all the time. We bumped into someone that was a friend of Kalani's that, had like 6 kids running around and looked completely frazzled. I'm going to turn to Kalani and say, "We have a cell breakdown on aisle 3. Cell breakdown on aisle 3. We're going to have a conversation, right? On the airplane, when I'm sitting next to someone and they say, "What do you do?" You know what I do? I ask them a lot of questions. That's a secret for me. I ask someone enough questions, they start asking me some questions. "So what do you do?" "Well, I work with ASEA." "Well, what's ASEA?" "Well, it's a cellular health company, and we're waging war on cell breakdown in this world today." "Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah, we've got a breakthrough technology that turns on genes in 5 major areas of health." "Okay, and it's done with a cellular signaling supplement," right? Simple. These are things that I think we're all going to have an opportunity to do. Guys, it's time. You heard Jerem say it. When we go out of here, a big win for me, and I think a big win for all of us, is we need to find people who have cellular breakdowns, and I'll give you a hint. If you can't find them, they're the ones with faces. And we need to tell them our story and tell them what we have. It is on. And it's time to bring them to our house here at ASEA. Thank you very much.
Welcome to my